everyone, welcome back to Ivy's YouTube channel. This is Eeshani bringing you the VBA series. So last time we worked on multiple conditions and today we will start the topic of loops. Now, what is a loop? Loop is basically when you want to repeat a step over and over again, a process over and over again. So rather than doing it one by one or writing the same step of statement multiple times, what we can do, we can put a loop around a process. Now, looping might not come very easy, or looping is not very natural like an if, because when we talk, when we talk with a if in our mind, whether I go for a movie or not. But loop is something which is not going to be easy till we practice a lot. But before we get into it, let's just talk about the two types of loops that are available to us. First loop that we will talk about today is called a for loop. For loop is also known as the definite loop. Now, why the definite loop? When we work for the for loop, when we work with the for loop, we tell how many number of times we need to repeat a process. So if I say that keep writing this line 10 times, so I'm running my loop from 1 to 10, right? Anytime I have a definite number attached to the number of process, the times that I have to run the process again is called a for loop. So first, let's look at a structure followed by a quick example. So for is a keyword. Whenever we write for, we have to use a start number or we use a variable. We will assign a start number to it. Followed by the keyword to, followed by the end number. In between for and next, we will write the lines to repeat. And then we finish our for loop with the keyword called next, followed by the variable that we declared on the top. So very simple. This variable is user given. You decide where to start. It could be 1. How many times the loop has to end. So if I have to run it 10 times, I can have start number as 1, end number as 10. What you want to repeat comes in the middle, and next variable increments the value of the variable by 1. So what is going on? Let's take an example where we want to get marks of 5 students and show their average, right? So I'm going to make this sub as marks. I want to get marks of the student. Let me write this as average marks. I want to get the marks of the student. So like we've dealt it in our previous videos, we will start with the keyword dim, followed by name of the variable, followed by the data type. In this case, I'm going to keep it as byte because I'm not expecting marks more than 255. Once I've declared the variable, I need to now take an input. So if I say I want for 5 students, am I looking for 1 input or more? So the correct answer is more, and exactly 5 inputs I'm looking for. So rather than having 5 variables and then having 5 input box, what we are going to do is put a for loop over here. And since we are going to use a variable in our for loop, I'll declare that also on the top. So for I is a variable I've used, 1 to 5, where 1 is my start number, 5 is my end number. And what I want to do, I want to take an input from the user. So marks equal to input box. Enter the marks. And next I. Now, like I said, what happens at next I is that the value of I gets incremented by 1. So if the value of I in beginning is 1, it comes, takes an input for the marks, comes to next I will now become I plus 1, that's 2, go back, still falls in the range. So come back in the loop, and with this, it will run at least 5 times. Now, what we are doing, if you remember the first few videos, we said a variable can store only one value. So what's going on over here in the loop? I have a variable space of marks, but I'm overwriting on top of it. I want to get an average of the 5 students. I need a total, and I cannot overwrite. I don't want 5 variables in which I want to store. So what we are going to do is declare a variable like total. And once we get the marks of a student, we will store the marks in this variable called total. So in this process, what we are doing a cumulative of all the marks one by one. So when your I is equal to 1, I get the first marks, total has the first marks. When I becomes 2, I get the new marks and total has the first marks plus now the second marks. When I becomes 3, I get the third marks. Total now has first and second, and now incrementing by third marks. So at the end of this entire for loop, what we will get in total is total of 5 students. Now, in order to display, we use message box. And what we want to say is average of class. And we can put an ampersand. Ampersand is used for joining or concatenating. And now I want to show total divided by 5 because we were working with 5 students. Let's try to run it. F5 is a shortcut key. Let us put the marks 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the class average is 30, which is accurate. So a very quick recap. For loop is a definite loop, means that if I know how many number of times the loop needs to run, then I'll use a for loop. Second thing, the structure. So it starts with the keyword for, followed by any variable, and then you have to give the starting point and the ending point. The starting and the ending decide how many times this loop is going to run, and whatever are the steps to repeat comes in the middle. Your next I helps the variable I to get incremented by 1, and that's a default value. I hope you enjoyed this video and find this useful. Next video, we will be looking at the conditional loops. Thank you.